Well, hello, hello. I want to kind of go over my doctor's appointment from yesterday. Hopefully, I will not bawl and cry like I did in my doctor's office. But I also know that I like to divulge way too much information on the internet, so I feel like I'm just an open book. And as I've said many a times on here, that I feel like I divulge way too much information, but I feel like this is like a therapy type of like blogging or channel. Like for myself, I feel like it's like a therapy. Like I feel like I speak what's on my mind, my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions, mostly my opinions. So that's kind of what today's gonna be. That's what today's gonna be about. But first, before we get started, I do want to have I do want to make mention of a particular one of my subscribers and followers, and I would consider almost a friend. I text this person nearly every day, and she's been a great supporter for things that I've needed for my journey through I would say legal things. She's been a great supporter, and she's also the one who sent me the T-shirt that I have a video of. She sent me a T-shirt. She sent me little Debbie's. Like she's just an overall very kind-hearted person. But I do want to mention she has been not doing so well lately. I will post a picture here. I did get her permission to post this picture, and I wanted to make sure I didn't divulge too much of her medical stuff because it's not my place to say, but she did say I could say it because at the end of the day, she wanted you guys to know, and because she's in the ICU, she doesn't really have the means to like make her own posts and make her own announcements right now. And so, but this is Beach Girl. Beach Girl is up on my channel. She's also on other social media platforms, and I don't want to like divulge all her screen names because I don't know what some of them may be anonymous or some she doesn't want to announce. But and I'm not going to say her real name, but she did have to. She's been in the ICU, and I think she might be getting out soon. Hopefully, she had an emergency neck surgery, like right here, and I think she said she's had it once before, and it was a very painful surgery to have, and it's a really horrible recovery because it's so painful and it lasts so long. But the poor girl, like they said that when she told me, or she wrote to me that she had surgery, and then like they tried to wake her up and she wouldn't wake up until like 7 p.m. that night, and she had texted me and she said something like, I just woke up an hour ago, and I guess they had given her probably fentanyl for the pain, or I'm guessing that's what they give fentanyl for in the hospitals is strictly for pain. But they gave her fentanyl, and I think they said they even had to give her. I think she said that she even had to get Narcan in order to like try to get woken back up. But I guess she spent the entire day knocked out until she woke up like in the evening, and it was just until then, like the surgery happened and she was done in recovery in the morning. It took them all day for them to get her to wake up. So bless her heart. But anyway, so I just want to make sure you guys are aware. If y'all can just keep her in y'all's thoughts. She's been in and out of the ER, the ICU, and she's having a really rough time. So I just want to make sure that you guys know. I told her I would tell you guys. And Beach Girl, I'm sorry you're having to go through that, but our thoughts are with you. So I figured I would wrap her stuff in with my stuff because I'm going to be talking about medical for myself. So I figure 2 for 1. We just both divulge all of our stuff. All right. So let's talk my doctor's appointment that I had just recently yesterday. I told you guys I would give you an update once I found out. I'm still planning on doing like an ultrasound here soon. I still have to make the appointment for that. But so ultimately I went in and I asked my doctor. By the way, I've known this doctor for like 10 years. So, okay, like she's the type of doctor that where she tried to leave me. Like she wanted to go to another Mayo clinic that was up north in north of Phoenix. And when you have a good doctor, I tell all the people I talk to, like because I work in medical, I tell all the people that I talk to on a daily basis, when you find a good doctor, do not let that doctor leave. Like you keep that doctor for as long as you can, because they're hard to find, and especially one that understands you, will be an advocate for you, one that will like bend over backwards for you. And just to give you an example of how amazing this doctor is, like, okay, let me tell you a quick story. When I broke both my legs in Washington State, and I'm in Arizona, I went to the ER twice that same, within 24 hours I went to the ER, because when I broke both my legs, they tried to send me back home, and they sent me home, and so I ended up going right back like within like an hour or two in another ambulance back to the ER again. But they wanted to do an MRI on my legs, and but apparently there was no doctors that could write the orders from the ER to do the MRIs, just so that way they could see what is actually, how much did I tear, how much I broke my ligaments and tendons and ACL and all that stuff. So they wouldn't do it because there was nobody to write the orders, and so I called my doctor all the way from Washington in the ER room down to in Arizona, and I sent her like an emergency like text or email like through the mail portal, and I was like, please help. Then they were like 911, like text message or like a email, and I kid you not, she calls me within like 45 minutes. I don't know, she may have had patience, or she stopped everything she was doing. Within 45 minutes, she was on the phone with me, probably even faster than that. It was like she was on the phone with me. I was still in the ER. She was on the phone with me. And I said, they won't do anything up here in Washington for me. I said, they need a doctor to write an order. She writes an order for my MRIs and everything from Arizona. She's taking control of their situation up in Washington from across the country. Like, I didn't even know, I thought doctors had to stay in their own state. Like, I didn't think that they could be like, telling other doctors in other states what they could do, or that I didn't think that was possible. I thought like you're only licensed and you're only a doctor like in your state, like kind of like how like lawyers, I think like lawyers only stay, lawyers and attorneys only stay like within their state. I thought like doctors are like that too. And so she faxed over or I guess sent over the orders and everything to Washington and got it done. And everything and if I asked her like, hey, I had to like break the lease on my apartment complex at that time because I couldn't get into my 2-story apartment. She wrote me a doctor's note, broke my lease for me. Like, my doctor is chef's kiss. She's amazing. Okay. So when I say she wanted to leave me and go to like the north side of Arizona and leave me, I was like, what do you mean leave me? And she's like, well, I'm going up an hour north and you're down here. So she's like, yeah, you may want to see this other doctor so that we don't have to drive as far. And I was like, I don't care where, I've always told her, I don't care where you go. You can go anywhere in Arizona. I will find you and you are my doctor. Like, so to this day, just like I did yesterday, we drove 2 hours all the way up north to go see this doctor, because like I said, when you have the best doctor, and that's why I love the Mayo Clinic. The Mayo Clinic is, if you get I wish this would be sponsored by the Mayo Clinic. If you get a chance to be a patient at the Mayo Clinic, be a patient at the Mayo Clinic. It's a little bit of a wait to get in because they're so backlogged and there's so many people that want to get in. But once you're in, you get appointments fast. You get the red carpet treatment, and these doctors are phenomenal. Okay, is that right? Phenomenal. So, anyways, that's my little tangent about how amazing my doctor is. Okay. Oh, no, I don't want to say her name. Her name is funny too. Like, it cracks me up just to say her doctor name. Yeah, her last name. Anyways, so but I don't want to say her name on here. I don't want to give you guys. I don't want to give certain people or my doctor in trouble. So anyways, so yeah. Anyways, I want to say, like, I got there, and as soon as I got into the room, and I was talking to like the nurse before, you talk to the nurse before you get to the doctor. I felt like I already kind of had like and not like I had like some kind of like an attitude already. I don't know. I just wasn't in the right mindset or the right headspace. And so I talked to the nurse and I tell her, like, hey, I'm just here because I have this like, it's about this big, but you can't see it. Like, if you look at me, you can't, you have to feel it, and you can feel it. It's in my rib cage. There's like a bulge or something. And so, I said, that's why I'm here. I'm here for this. And she was like, oh, so, have you been taking all your other medications, and have you been doing this? And I was like, no, I really haven't. Not realizing, like, I don't know why, but in my mind, I just was not in the last few months, I guess I've been struggling mentally with, just keeping everything, like, in order, and just trying to, like, not stress out about my other, my personal situations and stuff. And I guess I like kind of fell off the bandwagon and just stopped taking my medications. And it's not like mental medications. It's just like medications for like, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, or your, like your Manjaro, like your Ozempic kind of medications, those things. And then like your, I think just nothing, nothing major in itself. Like, it's not like it's, ADHD or schizophrenia medication. I'm not like any of those. It's just like my regular medications to like, your heart, your body, whatever. So, I told her, I said, no, I haven't been taking any of them, and I haven't even refilled anything for like the last 6 months. And she was like, why? And I really hadn't thought about the why, but I was just like, I don't want to. Like, I just kind of felt like I was just kind of getting, I don't know, like I was just kind of getting complacent with things. And I just was kind of just like, I just was giving up on a lot of things mentally and in my personal health wise. And so, but I didn't realize I was walking into my doctor's office having like a mental breakdown. Like that's the thing. I didn't realize, like, I was going in for this lump on my side or under my rib cage. And when the doctor finally did walk in, she could tell right away that there was something wrong with me. And she was just like, she said the vibe was off. And like I said, she's known me for years. And so like, and my mom was in the room too. And so after a little while, we were talking and they met and everything. And I was telling her about, like, I want her to look at this on my side. And she was just like, she's like, she asked my mom to like leave the room because she wanted to talk to me privately. And she's like, what's going on? She's like, I can tell you're off. Like, there's something off about you. And she's like, why haven't you been taking your medications? Why haven't you, I haven't seen you in like 9 months. And I usually see her like every 3 months. And so I just kind of told her, I was like, I've been in a really bad place mentally. And, I said, I was upset. Like, like I told her, I said, ever since I got laid off like a year ago, I said, mentally, it's been draining on me. Cause I said, or actually really, it really all started when I broke my legs. Like my mental health really took a downward spiral, when I broke my legs, because it felt like it was very isolating going through the healing, 2 surgeries, and then just kind of being by yourself most of the time during all that healing process, and just being stuck in a bed for a while you're waiting for your body to heal. So I hope this isn't like picking up on the microphone. Like, you probably hear me like move my hands so much because I'm like trying to tell a story, but it's like draining for me. But anyways, so it's like my nervous habit. So I told her, I said, basically it started then. And I said, and then from after my knees, surgeries, I said, then I got laid off. Like, or as soon as I went back to work, 2 months later, I got laid off. And I had been with that company for over 11 years. And I said, so that was the next toll that kind of like mentally took me out. And I said, and then from there, it was like, and then I ended up having like my cousin move in with me, and she was like a complete narcissist and just was mentally draining in itself. And that only lasted for like a month or 2, maybe 3. And so it was like, because like 3 or 4 months. She had to go. And so that was a whole issue in itself. And so it was like every decision I was making, and by the way, and then the decision that I had to leave my apartment to move down here to this town that's 30 minutes south of Phoenix, it was very isolating too, because all my friends are up in Phoenix, and to order to go see them or go do anything or whatever, it's like, I can't go see them because I have to spend 30 minutes just to get into town. And then it's like, it's a whole thing. And it's just like, so I felt like I was even more secluded. And then I don't know, like, it's just like every decision I was making over the last 2 years was just all of a sudden coming full circle right at me at this doctor's appointment. And like, it was like, oh yeah, I haven't been taking care of my medications. Oh yeah, I haven't been taking care of my health. Oh yeah, I haven't been, and it's just, it all of a sudden just like hit me like there at the doctor's office. And like, when she said, I don't want to cry, but she was like, what's wrong? I was like, I just bawled. I was like, just crying. And she was like, okay, so she's like, you're having a mental breakdown right now. She was like, we need to get you to a therapist. And she's like, literally, like, she was like, when you leave here, she was like, I need you to call your EAP for your employee like therapist. She's like, on the drive home, she's like, you need to start making appointments. She was like, you need to do, she wants to start seeing me like every month now. So like, when I tell you guys like mental health is important, like, I didn't know I was that bad of a situation until like she brought it all out of me. Like, and so it was funny because like at the end of the appointment, like, she said, she was like, we need to make sure you see a therapist. She was like, I can give you all the medication in the world. She goes, and like medications to like, boost up your, what's it called? What is that? Enzymes. It's your serotonin. She's like, I can give you all the medications to boost up your serotonin and, for depression or anxiety or whatever. She goes, and by the way, I'm not on any of those, but I mean, I am now, like, as a, like, whenever it gets here in the mail, like I'm going to be, because she said, she's like, I can give you these medications, but they're going to do you any good unless you go to a therapist. She's like, they have to go together. And so I told her, I was like, okay, I promise I will. So anyways, I'm starting my journey with a therapist now, because apparently, I need it, which is, it's probably true. And that was funny. Then at the very end of our meeting, I kind of like slipped in. I was, cause she was like, what are some of the good things that you feel like are happening in your life? And I said, it's really hard for me to like think of any. I said, I'm just been in this like depression that I didn't even realize I was, but I said, I didn't realize I didn't have any joys in my life right now. And I told her, I said, but I said, honestly, after I sat there for like 20 minutes just talking to her and just spilling everything out to her, I said, you know what? I said, honestly, I said, at the end of it, I said, what makes me happy is that my YouTube channel and you guys. And I said, I get so much support from them. And I said, and the way they cheer me on, or they treat me, or we treat each other, or like just the positiveness. I said, honestly, that's probably the really only positive thing going on in my life right now. And I said, oh, and then I said, by the way, and then I found my sister. I said, me and my sister have a channel together. And I said, I said, the funny thing is, I said, our channel is called Trauma Bond. And I said, it's funny because, my sister did a bunch of therapy and she turned out like amazing. And I said, but and my doctor was like, yeah. And that's the point of therapy. Like she's a fine example of what it should do and how it should end, if you think so highly about her and she's so normal and whatever. So I told her, I said, okay, I said, I hear what you're saying. I'll do it. So anyways, I told her, I said that my sister's channel that, me and her do, and this channel, I said, are like the only positive things in my life. And I said, so, I said, it's, I said, I put on a front. I said, honestly, I said, when I'm on camera or when I'm like hanging out with, or if I talk to people or if I said, and she appreciated that I was willing to admit it. I was like, it's an act. I said, as soon as I turn off the camera and I turn off the lights and I turn off the ring lights, I said, I'm not as happy as I like to put myself on camera. And I said, I've been doing it for so many years. Like when I'm at my job and I talk to people all day on the phone, I said, my professional voice and my professional like camera face, I said, come on. And I said, and I know how to turn it off and on so quickly. And I said that I said, I'm good at it. And I said, I can mask it very well. And I said, I just know when I'm in public how to I know how to perform basically to make people think that I'm not depressed, and, but anyway, so long story short, the good news out of all this is, I came home and literally today I was like, I'm moving. I'm getting out of here. I don't want to live here anymore. So I'm moving. So I am. I just at a whim, I decided to go, put in a couple not a couple. I put in an application for a place in Chandler for an apartment up there. So I can be back in the city. And honestly, I'm hoping my apartment complex here realizes like I may have to get another medical release just to get out of my lease here, because at the end of the day, like I need it. I need to get out of here. Like I need to get out of this town. This town is killing me. Like it's draining. Because I just feel so isolated, So sorry, I don't mean to like throw it all on you guys, but that's what I said. That's what this video is, or this channel is for. Is for me to have my opinions and my thoughts be on camera, so that way I can show other people if they're going through this, they're not alone. So, but okay, so let's get to the good positive things. Like I told you guys that I did it in my YouTube posts, and I said something to the effect of I'm gonna live, whatever. Okay, so here's what the doctor really thinks that bulge is. That's what we're all here for, just to know what it is. I asked her, I said, so is it a hernia? Is it a tumor? Is it cancer? She's like, nah, it's none of that. And so, and she did feel like she compared both sides of my rib cage, and she was feeling around or whatever. And then she said, and I said, okay, but what do you, in your professional opinion, what do you think it is? And I said, even if you may not be right, I said, I trust you. What do you think? And she was like, honestly, she's like, you're getting old. And she goes, that's just the way the body distributes, lymph nodes and fat cells and whatever. She's like, that's just normal. So, she's like, but just to be safe, let's do an ultrasound. And so she said, I think that would be the safe thing to do. And she's like, and some lab work. So that's what I'm doing. So on the 10th, I do some lab work, and then they're going to do an ultrasound. I think somewhere, maybe either in this town or so. I don't know. We're going to do the ultrasound sometime soon. So I just got to make the appointment. But, anyways, that makes me feel a lot better knowing that Miss Expert Doctor here, she was just like, no, she's like, you're good. But what makes me wonder is like why it was so painful though. Like, so like it was hurting so bad, all through Thanksgiving week. So I don't get that part. Like, why would it hurt for 3 or 4 days straight? Like to where like it was like jabbing, like somebody stabbing me in my side pain to where it was exhausting me. I had to go to sleep a few days because it was hurting so bad. But, and then I'm like, what is that? I don't get that. So, that seems concerning, but I don't know. I'm no doctor, but I just know I felt pain. So I don't know. I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you guys are having a hell of a Friday night. I'm going to be up all night and packing, and I'll be up early in the morning packing because I'm getting the fuck out of here. I just don't want to be here anymore. Like I just, yeah, it was cute. My mom just came over for a little while, and she was like, because I haven't even divulged all this to her. Like I hadn't divulged anything to her like since my doctor's appointment. Like we drove home, but I didn't say very much of like what took place in the doctor's office because I just wasn't mentally there to like. I didn't want to just have it all, hash it all out with my doctor and then do it all again in the car ride home for 2 hours. So but I just told her like a little while ago before I got on here, and she was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "I'm getting the fuck out of here." I was like, I'm just so ready to get out of this town. Like, it's just, there's nothing wrong with this town. This town is like, it's cute. It's perfect. It's great. It's great for retiree people. It's great for like the snowbirds. They all come together every every winter. And it's just, it's a great little town for people that are 60 and older. Like it's perfect. It's perfect for them. It's slow pace. The streets roll up at like 9 o'clock. All the Ubers and Lyfts stop at like 10 o'clock. You can't even get one out here after 10 o'clock because nobody's doing them out here because the town's so slow and dead. And then like, yeah. And because of that, like you can't do nothing after like 8 or 9 o'clock. And I'm just not used to that. I'm used to living downtown in the city. I'm used to living in downtown Chandler on the strip, like downtown, like where there's things to do and there's people to see and I get to go do things. Like, so I don't even care where I didn't care where I live in the city. I just want to be in the city just so I can go do things. That's my only goal. Like right now is just to go do things. Anyways, I'm going to hop off here. I'm just wasting time now. All right. I hope you guys, like I said, are having a great night. I got to go pack. Bye.